so happy to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you, all your success, and
Thank you.
and the show. And I'm just so absolutely honored that you invited me to be a guest on your show.
I've always been a fan. Now, we did a movie together where you played my dad.
That's right. Yeah, I was your dad, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. You were amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I always thought, I used to wonder, I'm like, I wonder, are we related? We got to check the family, chain or something.
Well, this is America.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Basically,
we might be related to all these people.
So you grew up in Michigan. That's still not too far from Chicago now.
Exactly, yeah. My relatives came to Chicago first, and then some went over to Michigan, but we'd spend summers in Chicago and Elgin, which is just outside of Chicago.
That's close.
I love Chicago. It's a great city, and if you got some money. And not so much money if you ain't got any money. But yeah, I'm sure family would have crossed paths.
Just maybe. And you've been acting for almost 60 years.
That's right, yeah.
Did you ever think that your career would, expand this long?
Well, it took me a minute after high school to figure out what I was going to do, and I stumbled into acting, and I realized that this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be one of those guys who, I'm on the set and they say cut, and I'm standing there, and they go, oh my God, I think he's dead. I mean, I want to do this as long as God blesses me to do it, and people are willing to pay me.
You're doing a great job. You're a big Sidney Poitier fan.
I love Sidney Poitier. He was such an inspiration. Where he came from, his family history, he was so elegant and graceful, and he was just amazing. Anybody who's not really familiar with his work, I'm sure you all are, but just watch some of his stuff. The first movie I did was with Gordon Parks, who called Sidney and said, you got to meet Ernie. And Sidney was slow responding, so I decided to go to the studio, took it upon myself, and I think it was, Sidney was very annoyed by that. So for a number of years, I thought he didn't like me, but I did a movie called Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror with his daughter, Sidney. And I worked with his daughter, and Sidney and I, before he passed away, became what I consider friends. But early on, yeah, I don't think he was a big fan. But I always admired him.
Yes, I understand. Do you think he helped inspire you to act?
Well, my grandmother would say that, Jesus is the light of the world. She said, but we're all lights of the world. And the best gift you can give is be an example of what's possible. If I'm going to be an old man, an old black man, I don't want to be an old broke black man. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the guy who's in bad health.
Yeah.
So when Poitier did what he did, it opened the door of possibilities. You think, well, if he can do it, then it's possible. And once you know it's possible, then you got a shot. If you don't think it's possible, then what's the point of trying?
Y'all hear that? That was a life lesson right there. Okay, so Ghostbusters came out over 40 years ago?
Yeah, Ghostbusters it's getting close to 40, yeah, I guess this year will be 40 years. 40 years.
Like, that's a classic. It's timeless. And I know, like, when you're shooting something that's classic, you kind of don't, there's no meter to tell we're shooting a classic. Did you ever think it would last that long?
Well, I knew when I met Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis that it would open well, But in those days, it would open number one, and then a few weeks later, something else would replace it. But Ghostbusters just kept going and going. 10 years after the movie was out, people were still wearing the jumpsuits. Right. 20 years, 30 years,
to this day.
And I didn't expect that. And I'm so just honored and thankful to have been a part of that franchise. They're doing another movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask, they're doing another one.
Yeah, they're doing another one, and I'm not sure if...
This is amazing!
I'm not sure if I'll be in it, but just for the fans to know, it won't be because of me. So
we need him in it. We don't want to hear no other way. You gotta be in it.
Well,
listen to Hudson over here. Okay. It's like Jennifer. Can you tell us about your first car that you ever bought?
Well, yeah, you know, as a kid in Michigan, you just want a car. And the first car I bought was for $50, and I bought I think it was a 1955 Oldsmobile that was really going to be important, especially in trying to get a date. But the problem was every time it shifted gears, the smoke would come up in the back window, and so it would fill with all this smoke. So you couldn't drive the car without your windows rolled down and your head stuck out the window. But I love cars, and I've had some wonderful cars, but that was not a great car. My second car was an old Plymouth, I can't remember, 51 or something, and the floorboard was all rusted out, so you could see the street. You could look down and you could see it going by, and you had to be careful not to let your foot slip down, because if your foot slipped down, you'd probably lose it. So, but you know, I love cars, and I've been very blessed with some great cars. I'm so honored that they decided to come back to it, and I play the guy who runs the program, who was leaped into in the original series, and now he gets the program back up and going, and it's a really, really good show. I love working on it. It's really great.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
And were you a fan of the original?
You know, what I loved about Quantum Leap, the original show, and hopefully ours, is that it's one of those shows like Ghostbusters that families can come together and watch. You know, a lot of shows you don't want to watch with your kids, and you can talk about, you know, what if you could leap back in time, you know, to be in someone else's shoes, and we talk for hours about it. So my sons were really excited that now I'm a part of it, because it was such an important part of our lives.
Do any of them act?
My oldest son is an actor, sometimes producer, but he does a lot of things. But we did Oz together. He was in a season of Oz. And we did several movies together. I think it was in a couple of the Candyman movies. So my second son is a musician, my third son is a writer, and my youngest son is a watchmaker.
Oh.
So,
so they all are creative in some way.
They're all creative, all amazing people. I'm so blessed and thankful. You know, my sons, and then my grandson, and then I have great-grandchildren.
Oh.
So,
Aww.
yeah.
That's nice.
I'm very, very blessed.
Very blessed. And did you take any of them on Family Feud with you? Because I heard she was on Family Feud. That's my favorite show.
Yeah, we did Family Feud, and my 4 sons were on it, and we won for a charity.
Yay!
The Union Rescue Mission, which is a wonderful charity, which is amazing, Union Rescue Mission. But we had a great time.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Hudson. We appreciate you. Will you come back again?
You know what? I am... You know, the saying, you just call my name, anytime, anything, I just love and appreciate you, and I'm so proud of you, and so thankful for you.
Thank you.
Call me anytime. I'm always happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to hold you to that. It's always an honor and a pleasure to see you and to have you here, so thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here. You know, I love you so much.
Thank you.
We did a movie together,
We did.
I don't know how many years ago.
It was quite some time.
It was a while back, and I fell in love with you. You know what, actually, it was so much fun, because the one thing I took away from that show was you told me, you said, you know, you have swag.
Yes, he got swag, y'all.
Swag, okay. I got...
Oh, my goodness, what's the trick to the swag?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's, yeah, so it's great to see you. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here. Speaking of swag, recently you went viral after you wore your T-shirt on a red carpet.
Yeah, I was doing a photo shoot for Ghostbusters.
Y'all see this?
And, yeah. So, yeah, you know, and at 78, it's kind of nice to...
78.
I mean, it's the same arms.
What? It's the
but
same arms.
Suddenly people noticed that I had arms, and I'm very flattered.
Oh, you flattered. Okay, Did you know what, like, I don't know how up you on today's time. Did you know what viral meant? Did your grandkids tell you what that meant?
No, my granddaughter called me and said, "Grandpa, you going viral?" I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay, is that all right? Is that good?" So, yeah, but it's been a long time working I've never really focused on the physical side of it, but like I said, it's nice to, you know, to be noticed.
This man been fine all 78 years of his life. Oh my goodness. And you've been married for 40 years.
Yeah, my wife and I, we've been married now for pretty close to 40. We got married in 85, but we've been together since we got together in 76, April 5th, 1976. I know that because on April 5th, she had flowers and I didn't have any.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, is this a special day? I'm like, oh, it's April 5th, okay.
Oh.
So since 76, we've been together.
Wow.
And
That is a blessing.
She's amazing, and I think she's getting a big kick out of the whole viral
I was
thing.
going to ask, what she got to say about it?
You know, she kind of laughs, and I do notice, though, that now she travels with me everywhere.
Oh.
You know, you
What
used to
that
be
mean?
like, well, where you going? I'll see you later, honey, bye. You know, now it's like, you know what, 2 tickets. You know that, it's got to be 2 tickets. So.
She said, I need to keep tabs on it, huh?
Which I love. I love her because she's just that part of me that
Yes.
I can't imagine, you know, being without. She's amazing.
That is beautiful. I want to be like that when I grow up. Okay. And would you say mental health impacts your physical health?
Well, I think everything comes from spirit. I grew up in the church. And,
So did I.
you know, my grandmother raised me. My mom died when I was 3 months old. I never knew my dad. And to sort of make things make sense, my grandmother would say, God is your father. And God, anything that you can imagine, God can help you achieve if it's something you ask for
Yes.
in sincerity. And so I believe she would say, don't do the dumb stuff.
Don't do the dumb
The
stuff.
dumb stuff will get you killed. And people talk about the voice of God. It's really your voice of common sense. There's a part of us that says,
Yes,
are you really
sir.
going to do this? You know this is stupid. You know, I've been places where I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and something would say, you need to get out of here. And if you ignore that voice, you're going to be in trouble.
Wow.
So all my life, I would look down and say, you know you're getting too big. Now, I can ignore it and keep eating, or you need to sit down, say a prayer,
Yeah.
and turn to God. And, you know, and we all know exactly what we need to do. There's a part of us, though, that keeps looking for an easy way out, another answer. If we read another book, if we take another class, anything to keep me from doing what I know I need to do. Because you know what you need to do.
Take it from him. He would know. If that is true, you had a wise grandmother, too.
Yeah, my grandmother was truly amazing. She was born in 1895.
1895.
Never went to school. Learned how to write her name when she was in her 50s. But she believed in God.
She had
God
the
was
wisdom,
real.
discernment.
And the neighborhood, the church, people loved her. And she was just a very dedicated churchgoer. From the time I was a little kid until I graduated from high school, we cleaned the church every Saturday.
Oh.
And when I was about 11, it made no sense to me whatsoever. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not doing this. Why are we here? They don't say thanks. They ain't paying you. So why we got to do this?
You
She
serving
said,
the
well,
Lord.
You serving. She said, you know. And I just said, no, I'm not going to have it. But there was a brother Cole who was an amazing man. And he said, son, do it anyway. He said, the Lord will bless you.
The Lord will bless you.
And as I got older, I realized it's in the doing it anyway. Some things, it needs to be done.
Right.
And you're called to do it. And the blessing is, I've been blessed, so blessed in my life.
Wow.
And
That's a testimony right there. That is. And speaking of blessings, you're a cancer survivor 2 times.
yeah, I had prostate cancer in 1998. But luckily, I've always followed up on checkups.
Yeah.
You know, don't play with your health. You know, go to the doctor, make sure, even though you feel pretty good, check things out. And I caught it early, and I dealt with that. I had rectal cancer in 2011. And I caught that early, and it would have been simple, except I'm trying to choose my words here. It wasn't handled the way it should have been. The doctor made some choices that shouldn't have been made, and I almost died. In fact, he said if I had waited another half hour to come to the hospital, I would have made it.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was that moment that I knew that this could be it. and you know, something happens, you realize that you have two choices. You can start begging, oh God, please God, don't just let me live a little longer. Or you can accept the fact that maybe this is it and what kind of life you've lived. And I think I really thought it would, you know, that was it. And then I came through, but with a sort of a new appreciation of this amazing life that we're given.
Right.
I mean, the odds of any of us even being here is so astronomical. And to just, you know, some of the things we get caught up in,
Yes.
it's not about anything. Just to live this life, to be able to sit here with you, to share. It's such a blessing.
It's a blessing.
And we just really need to get back to what's important.
That gave me chills. Okay, we got more than the last name in common because I didn't learn how to swim till later in life, and I heard you didn't learn how to swim till later in life.
Yeah, well, you know, the Midwest was pretty segregated back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and the swimming, public swimming pools weren't really accessible, so we never really learned to swim. I was doing a movie called Leviathan in Rome, and the script had me swimming in the ocean, and I'm like, but you know, I can't.
Ocean?
Yeah, you know. Now, I didn't tell them that when I took the job. I just took the job. You know, but after we got there, I'm like, I can't swim.
Oh my goodness.
So they gave me swimming lessons, and I learned to swim, and I was well into my pretty close to 50 before I actually learned how to swim.
Oh, well,
And now I have a swimming pool, but I will swim. I don't, you know, that playing in the water, I don't do that stuff. I go from here to there.
me too.
Real quick. I ain't be, you know, that treading water, no, we ain't doing that, you know.
I'm still trying to figure out how to tread the water.
Yeah.
I could kick off the wall and glide to the other side. That's as good
I've
as
had
it's
it.
gonna get, okay? That
Yeah.
is amazing. And then you grew up singing in church. Now this I
Yeah.
did not know.
Yeah,
You were in a group.
Yeah, well, we had a group called the Prophets in church. I sang in a choir, and Jerry Butler who's from Chicago. Jerry Butler was always my favorite singer. And yeah, so one of the guys who was in my little group was a quartet, and we still get together and sing some of the songs.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, I love music. I love singing. I never had the confidence to sing. Acting was something that I felt it's just fun to do, and I don't think about it. But singing, you know, I was just too self-conscious.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, see, normally I put people on the spot and ask them to sing, but I ain't gonna do you like that, Mr. Hudson. But I am gonna ask, do you sing bass? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, a baritone.
Baritone?
Yeah, I was a lead singer.
Did you lead any solos ever?
Yeah, I did. In fact, I remember, I think when I was about 4 years old, they had a little talent contest in church, and my brother and I, we had to sing the Prodigal Son, a little song, and we got out there, and my brother just froze. He was just standing there looking like that, and so I sang the song, and then everybody was happy, and they clapped and all that, and then that was kind of probably how I got hooked into wanting to perform.
And then you fell in love with acting, and
Love it,
now
yeah,
we're
just-
blessed to have you as a movie star.
Oh, well, I'm very thankful. It's like,
Do you remember your first role? Like your first acting role? I'm just...
yeah, I was part of a theater group at Wayne State University when I finally got to college at Wayne State. And then I eventually went to Yale and University of Minnesota. But the first role was playing an African tale. It was a play called How the Snake Got Its Rattles. And I played God.
Oh.
And maybe that was part of it. I don't know. But it was, yeah, it was well received. And I started writing plays, and I wrote a bunch of plays. I had a theater that I started, and I've been very, very blessed. From the time I became an actor, which was around 66, I've always managed to make a living. I've never had to work outside of the business. I never had to do anything. I had all kinds of jobs before I found acting,
Yeah.
but once I found theater, I said a prayer, God, if you just bless me to be able to do this, I will honor it. I will show up on time. I will just let me do this. And God has always blessed me, and I've always tried to make sure, you'll never hear me showing up late
Right.
or not being prepared.
Is
or
that the
not-
key to longevity?
Yeah, you gotta, you know, the Bible says you take one step and I'll take two.
Amen.
You gotta take the step though. If
Yes,
you're waiting
sir.
for the 2 steps, You know, when Moses led the children of Israel out of the promised land,
Come on.
they got to the Red Sea and the sea parted. Most people were waiting for the sea to part. No, they had to get in the water first. You got to step in there.
Come on.
And if you do your part, I guarantee you, God will do his.
You've done your part. Oh my goodness. Now you're on season 5 of The Family Business.
Yeah, The Family Business. I love the show. It's such an amazing group of people. Carl Weber did a series of books called The Family Business. It's just a great group of people, and I'm so thankful and blessed because I haven't done a lot of what I guess urban content. You know, most of the things I've done have been, I don't know, more mainstream. But I love the guy is he's a gangster. He's all that, but
Do you like playing
he
a
loves
gangster?
his family. I don't understand people who do bad things, but I understand the intention. He loves his family, and he'll do anything to protect his family, and I can relate to that. But I have a hard time watching things where people just do awful stuff, you know, because part of asking God to bless you is you're being willing to bless other people.
Right.
You know, you can't expect that and do terrible things to
terrible
people.
things.
It just doesn't work that way. You know, if you want to hear the voice of God, you gotta let go of that revenge and all that stuff.
Right.
But sometimes people who do bad things or things that we consider bad, in their minds, they're trying to do it for the greater good, or the good of their family, or whatever they, you know.
Wow. We taking it from you. We learning a lot today. Oh my goodness. And this year also you start in Ghostbusters and you work with Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
What you think about him being the sexiest man?
Yeah, I saw that. Paul Rudd, the sexiest man not in the universe. I'm like, oh, will you go, Paul? I'm like, really? Because, okay, I'll, you know, I didn't quite understand it, but I will say I work with Paul. He is the nicest man on the planet. Paul is, you can't over-compliment him because he's just so gracious and so kind and so talented. I was a fan of his. I just didn't understand the sexiest man thing. But you know, once I met him and saw just how generous he is, I got, okay, that's sexy. You know, if being kind and loving is sexy, Paul Rudd is the sexiest man in the universe.
In the universe?
In the universe.
He said, in the universe,
right,
I give it to him. Well, you know, after all the recent attention and the uproar you caused, we think we need to start a campaign for you to be the sexiest man alive.
Well, you know,
what do you think about that?
Well, after I saw that piece,
What you think of yourself?
I'm almost afraid to go anywhere without my T-shirt. So now, you know, I go to the store. When I go shopping, I'm like,
do you see these muscles?
I'll take some of that.
Oh my goodness!
So, and at my age, because you know, coming up, like I said, I never really focused on. But at this stage in life, I'm like, yeah, look at me.
Go for it! If this ain't the sexiest man alive in the universe, I don't know what is. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to the Jennifer Hudson Show YouTube channel. Check your local listings or visit jenniferhudsonshow.com to see when you can watch full episodes in your area. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter.